The air was thick with the scent of pine and rebellion when Karen's shrill voice sliced through the quiet of my backyard. "I know you're running an illegal business in that shack, Ellie. You can't hide from the homeowners association." Her words hit like a sledgehammer, each syllable a nail driven into the piece I'd carved out in my little cabin office. I stood frozen at the edge of my garden, the hose dribbling water onto my boots, the late afternoon sun glinting off her oversized sunglasses. She was a one-woman storm, clipboard in hand, her lips pursed like she'd just tasted sour milk. My heart thudded, not from fear, but from the sheer audacity of this woman. For months, she'd been the self-appointed queen of Pinewood Estates, sniffing out violations like a bloodhound with a vendetta. And now, she'd set her sights on me. I'd moved to this sleepy Colorado suburb to escape the city's noise, to build a life where I could breathe. My cabin office, a converted shed with cedar walls and a slanted roof, was my sanctuary. It's where I ran my freelance graphic design business, sipping coffee to the hum of birdsong, not harming a soul. But to Karen, it was a blight on her perfect cul-de-sac. "That structure violates Code 47B, she'd barked last week, citing some obscure homeowners association rule about non-residential structures. I'd ignored her letters, her passive-aggressive notes taped to my mailbox. Big mistake. Now here she was, stomping across my lawn, her heels sinking into the soft earth like tiny daggers. "Karen," I said, forcing calm into my voice, though my hands shook as I coiled the hose. "It's just a shed. I work from home. Nobody's complaining." Her eyes narrowed, and she jabbed a manicured finger toward the cabin. "Don't play dumb, Ellie. I've seen delivery trucks, clients coming and going. You're running a full-blown operation, and I'm shutting it down." The word "clients" made my stomach lurch. She'd been watching me. Spying. My privacy, my quiet life, was unraveling because of her obsession with control. I took a deep breath, the air cool and sharp, carrying the faint rustle of aspen leaves. "You can't just barge onto my property," I said, stepping closer. Her perfume, something floral and overpowering, hit me like a wall. She smirked, flipping open her clipboard. "As Homeowners Association president, I have every right to inspect for violations. You'll open that cabin, or I'll have the board fine you into oblivion." My pulse raced. Fines. I was barely making ends meet as it was, pouring every dime into this house, this dream. I wanted to scream, to tell her to get the hell off my land, but I knew that'd only fuel her fire. Then came the curveball. A soft crunch of gravel sounded from the driveway, and I turned to see a familiar pickup truck pulling in. My brother, Nate, stepped out, his flannel shirt rumpled, his brow furrowed. He wasn't supposed to be here, he lived 3 hours away, running his auto shop in Denver. "Ellie, you okay?" he called, his voice low but steady, like the rumble of a distant storm. Karen's head whipped around, her expression souring. "This doesn't concern you," she snapped, but Nate ignored her, striding over with that quiet confidence that always made me feel safer. He wasn't just my brother, he was my rock, the one who'd helped me rebuild after Mom passed. "What's going on?" he asked, his eyes flicking to Karen's clipboard like it was a weapon. Before I could answer, Karen launched into her tirade, her voice climbing higher, a banshee wail that echoed off the pines. "Your sister's breaking every rule in the book. That shack is an eyesore, a danger, and I'm having it torn down." Nate's jaw tightened, but he stayed calm, his calloused hands slipping into his pockets. "Torn down? You got proof of anything illegal?" Karen faltered, just for a second, her confidence cracking like thin ice. I have reports," she stammered, clutching her clipboard tighter. "Neighbors have complained." I wanted to laugh. Neighbors? The closest house was Mrs. Delaney, who brought me cookies last week and loved my cute little office. Nate's presence gave me courage, but the knot in my chest didn't loosen. Karen wasn't backing down. She stormed toward the cabin, her heels clicking like gunfire. "I'm inspecting it now," she declared, reaching for the door. My heart stopped. Inside wasn't just my desk and laptop, there were client files, sketches, my entire livelihood. If she twisted this, if she reported me to the county, I could lose everything. Karen, stop! I shouted, my voice breaking. She froze, her hand on the knob, and turned with a triumphant smirk. You can't stop me, Ellie. This is over. That's when the universe threw in its plot twist. A sleek black SUV rolled into the cul-de-sac, its engine purring like a contented cat. The air seemed to shift, the birds falling silent, as if even they sensed something big was coming. Karen's smirk vanished as the driver's door opened, and out stepped a man in a crisp navy suit, his silver hair catching the sunlight. My breath caught. It was Governor Daniel Hayes, the Governor Hayes, whose face I'd seen on billboards and newsreels, campaigning for small business rights. What the hell was he doing here? Nate's eyes widened, but he didn't move. Karen, though, went rigid, her clipboard slipping slightly in her grip. The governor strode toward us, his polished shoes crunching the gravel, a warm smile on his face. Ellie Harper, he asked, his voice smooth as whiskey. I nodded, dumbfounded, my mouth dry as sawdust. I'm Dan Hayes, he said, extending a hand. Your brother reached out about your design work. I wanted to see it myself. My gaze shot to Nate, who gave a sheepish shrug. Surprise, he muttered. Karen's face was a mask of shock, her lips parted but no sound escaping. The governor glanced at her, his smile polite but sharp, like he could see right through her. And you are, he prompted. Karen stammered, Karen Mitchell, Homeowners Association president. Her voice was a ghost of its former venom. Hayes nodded, then turned back to me. Mind showing me that office of yours, Ellie? I hear you're doing some incredible work for local businesses. I could have cried right then, the relief flooding me like a warm tide. I led the way to the cabin, my hands trembling as I unlocked the door. The scent of cedar and ink greeted us, the soft hum of my computer fan filling the silence. My sketches lined the walls, logos, posters, dreams in vibrant color. Hayes took it all in, nodding thoughtfully, while Karen hovered at the threshold, her clipboard now a useless shield. This is impressive, Hayes said, picking up a flyer I'd designed for a local bakery. You're exactly the kind of entrepreneur we need more of. Karen's silence was deafening. Her eyes darted between me, Nate, and the governor, her righteous fury crumbling into something small and pathetic. I wanted to gloat, to rub it in her face, but I didn't. I didn't need to. The truth was doing that for me. Hayes turned to her, his tone still polite but edged with steel. I assume the Homeowners Association supports small businesses like Ellie's. Karen's mouth opened, then closed, like a fish gasping for air. Of course, she managed, her voice barely a whisper. The governor stayed for 20 minutes, asking about my work, my clients, even jotting down my contact info for a potential state project. When he left, the SUV gliding away, the air felt lighter, like the world had exhaled. Karen stood there, deflated, her clipboard hanging limp at her side. This isn't over, she muttered, but it was. She turned and shuffled back to her house, her heels dragging, leaving faint marks in the dirt. Nate pulled me into a hug, his flannel warm against my cheek. You didn't tell me you knew the governor, I whispered, half laughing, half crying. He chuckled, the sound low and grounding. I don't. I just sent an email to his office about you. Didn't think he'd show up. I punched his arm lightly, tears stinging my eyes. For the first time in months, I felt free, not just from Karen, but from the weight of doubt, the fear of losing what I'd built. As the sun dipped below the pines, casting long shadows across the lawn, I stood outside my cabin, the door still open, the scent of cedar drifting out. Karen could come for me again, but she'd lost her power. I'd found mine. Sometimes, justice isn't a gavel or a courtroom, it's the moment someone like her realizes they've picked the wrong fight. And as I locked up for the night, the soft click of the latch felt like a promise, I was done hiding. My work, my life, my little cabin, they were mine, and no one could take them away.